Hello and welcome. Today I am going to be unboxing what I hope is going to help me with my peppers this year. Although they're not looking very great, my peppers. I'll go into that a bit later on. But I'm also going to be asking the advice of a good friend to see if she can help me use what's in this box to the best of my ability. So without further ado, let's see what's in the box. And in the box is some quad grows. The lids. And in the box we have the mats for soaking up the water from the reservoir. These I think go in the middle. They go in the middle there. And that's where you fill up your water with your nutrition, I think. Oh, I was expecting that to be liquid. But it's the nutrient that you feed the plants with. 8 pots for my 4 reservoirs, and then the reservoirs itself. So that's looking good. Oh no! One of my reservoirs is broke. Oh no, I'll have to get in touch with the company and see if they'll send me a replacement one. There were 2 boxes. And in this box are some more lids and one cover. I think my husband might have had something to do with this. He might have ordered the lid for some reason, because he bought this for me for Christmas, as a Christmas present. So in here we've got the valves. And these, which I'm not quite sure what they are. Cane grip grommets. So they're for the to be able to attach the canes to the quad grow. So I've just been having a look at the instructions, and I've worked out that I don't need these because I'm not attaching it to a water butt. I just want to fill it up whenever I need to. And now I've moved on to these, which are connectors between the two, and I was wondering whether I actually need to connect 2 together or whether to just keep them as individual units. Now I kind of need to ask someone's advice, don't I? And I know just the person.
Absolutely. Watch that doesn't go everywhere because it's been in the fridge. Man, I have earned this.
Eli! Eli!
All right, Beth Ann, 2 seconds. Oh yeah, she was looking for you, sorry. Nay, look. You could have said before I sat on the beer. Okay. Enjoy mine. Oh, cheers.
I'm over here.
Right, Beth Ann, I'm coming.
I know Eli has been using these for a few years, so I want to get as much advice from her as possible. So my first question, Eli, is do I need to connect 2 together, or do they work just as well by themselves? Is it better to connect the 2 together, and then you don't have to fill them up so much? Or is it better to just keep them as individual units?
Right, Bethan. Okay, first things first then. We have to go back a long time for this, but when I first started using these, the original design was that it was just one piece. So it was one very long, thin water reservoir, and all 4 pots went on top. So when they changed the design and made it like these sort of 2 halves, the design was that you joined it together with the little tube. And that meant you still had the 30-litre reservoir feeding the 4 pots. Now, I did get in trouble a bit because that's how it was designed to be used and that's what they sent out. But I got some bungs and I basically bunged up the holes in them and split mine into 2. They weren't meant to be like that, and I got asked not to talk about it on YouTube, but I prefer it this way. It suits me better. It's all to do with space. I don't think it works better one way or the other. I just don't. But space-wise, I prefer only having the small one with the 2 plants, because I find it easier to just put a gap between them, so I could have a determinate plant on this side that would be a bit wider, and it means I can leave more space or whatever. So for me, I just find this way works better. But yeah, it's up to you. You now do get kits that will seal up the whole little bung kits. But if you are going to use them, top tip is just be very careful and make sure they are proper tight and sealed before you plant everything up, because I have had incidents where everything's been planted up and discovered that I hadn't tightened it properly. 15 litres of water all over the greenhouse. Happened with these 2 the other week. It's happened multiple times with the tomatoes. Top tip, check it before you plant them up.
Okay, great. Thanks, Eli. I'll do that. So, my next question. There's going to be a lot of questions here, Eli. So I was looking at the tops of these, and they come with separate grommets that you can put in these holes, and then you can keep your canes in. Do you think I need to do that, Eli? Have you found the cane system good, or do you think I could leave the lids off and put the cane in the pot?
Okay, that's a twofer, because, right, the things you keep calling tops, they're actually called mulch caps, and they go on here. Now, it does give you the option that you can put a bamboo cane through it, and like you say, it's got the wee hole there with the wee grommets that go in it, and the same here, and it lines up. So you can have that on either side, and it means you can have 2 canes. It means it's dead easy to then just use string or whatever to support your plants. I don't use them, as you can see. So the idea is, it's like just mulch. If you're growing plants in the garden, you might put straw on them or bark on them or something as a mulch to stop the moisture evaporating from it, and to suppress weeds. So it's pretty much the same idea. It's just that they come as part of the kit, and you can put the caps, the bamboo stakes in it and stuff. But no, I don't use them, because the first time I ordered them to use them, they came so late that the plants were even bigger than this when they arrived, and I had to do this whole hack thing to get them over the plants, and I actually did it as a hack video as a joke. But also, I don't use them because I have real issues with slugs in my garden. Scotland is a very damp climate, so we have a lot of slugs, and if I put them on here, that's creating a dark, damp environment for the slugs that I can't see and can't get to. So they could be in there and go mad, and I would never know until my plant fell over. So no, I don't use mulch caps, or what you call tops.
Oh, thanks, Eli. Who knew she knew so much, eh? Well, we all did, didn't we? Because, you know, we watch her programs, and she knows a lot. So, the matting goes through the bottom here, and then goes onto there like that, leaving I think about 2/3 of the matting in the pot and 1/3 dripping down into the reservoir, I think. So my next question, Eli, is does it actually matter which way in the matting goes? Is it meant to go in like that, or is it meant to go in like that?
Since you asked, Bethan, pointy end up, fat end goes down into the water trough. Now, top tip, when you're potting up like this, make sure you've pre-soaked your feeder mats. That way, they're not going to be dry and suddenly soak all the water out of the soil, okay? So soak them before you plant up, and it also helps the plant roots to find it, because it's like, oh, that's wet, and it'll head for it. It just holds a little bit of moisture in there.
So let's pretend now I'm all set up and ready to go, and I'm just about to put the plants in. So I've put the compost in, I'm going to put the plants in. Do I need to water everything first, and then sort of once everything in here is watered, I then put the cloth into there and put the pot on top? Or do I just put the water in here and just leave the cloth to soak up the moisture, and that will water the plants enough?
That's a really, really good question, Bethan, and I get asked that every single year. You always, as soon as you pot up your plants, you give them a good soak, a really good soak from the top. What that does is it helps to really settle the plant in place, settle the roots, get all the compost or the soil or whatever to settle down. You don't fill this yet. Leave that until things start to dry up a little bit, to when you would normally be giving your plants another good water. So could be maybe a week, as long as it's not like this. And then that's when you fill this. And from that point on, you don't ever water from above again.
Oh, thank you, Eli, for all your info. That has been so great. I know I'm not quite ready to set these up yet, but I just wanted to get them out today so I could go through them, so I could think about how I'm going to set up my greenhouse for the coming season. And I'm glad I did, because I've now got that broken one, which hopefully I'll be able to get a replacement for. But I do just want to ask you a couple more questions about in the greenhouse. So let's go in there and I'll ask you the questions. So we are a bit chock-a-block in here at the moment. All this staging is full of seedlings that will either stay in here and get planted on into the final positions or go outside. But I just wanted to ask, what height would you recommend me putting the units at? So we've got 2 tiers on this staging. Would you recommend putting them on the top tier or on the bottom tier? Which did you find more helpful, Eli? Which grew better for you?
I do it both ways. Okay, here's the thing. Flat on the ground for my tomatoes, because indeterminate tomatoes will get as tall as you will let them. And I let mine go right up and hit the roof. So I have those on, well, I'd have them on the floor if I could, but I've nowhere to store my staging. So instead, I flatten my staging and I put that on there. But if you can, put yours on the floor for indeterminate tomatoes, because it just gives you the height. But flip side, over here, I put my peppers on the staging, so they're kind of height for me to work on and stuff. I do that because of 2 things. Number 1, they don't need to be on the ground. My peppers don't get very tall, so this is a fine height. But 2, I have issues with aphids on my peppers here. It is my number 1 problem with them. And at that height, I can see them, see under the leaves, and keep an eye for aphids really easily. So yeah, height, it's kind of up to you. What are you growing and what makes it most convenient? Swings and roundabouts.
And the final question, Eli, is which way do you find easier? Do you find it easier to go that way and then have one more in front like that? Or do you find it better to go lengthways like that? I mean, obviously I'll take my shelf out and everything, so it'll fit all nice and tidy. But which way did you think worked better for you?
Okay, if we go super wide angle so you can see both at once. Right, these ones you can see I have them in a horizontal line. Works really well in that space. Now these are actually the other way, so there are 2 plants here. So I've actually got 8 pepper plants here. So it's equivalent of these guys being turned around on their side. I don't have my plants like this. They're just like this just now because they'll actually go here, and I'll have I'll have 4 plants here and 4 plants here. But at the moment they're there because I've got other things going on and I'm still setting up the greenhouse. The reason that I don't do it, it doesn't work for me in here, is because that plant that's at the back is not getting enough light. It's gotten a lot of shade from this plant, and it's also tucked away. I can't get to it. I can't see what's going on. It could be covered in aphids and I would never know. So that's why. So I have them out in a single row just to make it easy for me to access them, to keep an eye on them and look after them. And it means, you know, I'm not worrying about a plant at the back getting shaded. So yeah, I hope that's helped. I've got a couple of wee tips for you though. Just through my years of using these, I've learned a lot of things. And this is a really, really important thing to note, because I would rather you guys don't make this mistake that I did, because it cost me plants 2 years running because of one mistake. And it is this. The reservoir under the plants is fantastic. It works brilliantly for feeding and watering your plants. You don't have to use the fancy pants food that comes with it, this Nutrigo. It's really amazing stuff, but you don't have to use it. I've also used plain old tomato right. However, do not use organic feeds. There is a reason. So I did one year use a seaweed feed, and it's so obvious when I say it now you'll laugh, but trust me, until someone's told you this, you don't think of it. Those reservoirs hold the water, and the water's there for maybe a week before you fill it again. But it's sitting there, stagnant water with your seaweed feed or other organic feed in it, in a black reservoir in a warm greenhouse or polytunnel. So it's warming up and it's stagnant, and it's going to ferment because it's organic. It's a living thing. It's a living material. Those little yeasts and bacteria and everything in the air love that, and it will ferment, and it will smell so bad you will not believe. You will get a horrible, disgusting, slimy film on the top of it. It will completely coat the plant roots, and you'll then end up with things like blossom end rot because the plants won't be able to access the nutrients it needs, and it will cause you no end of trouble. Now, the reason I was saying that gave me trouble for 2 years is because even after scrubbing everything and bleaching everything, it came back, because those types of yeasts and bacteria are quite hard to get rid of. And it took 3 goes of scrubbing and bleaching and leaving it sitting out in sunlight to kill all that off. So it was 3 years before I then got my normal harvest back again. Oh, you couldn't believe the smell. It was awful. So don't use organic feed in your quad grow reservoirs.
Thank you so much for your advice today, Eli. It has been so helpful. I kind of feel like I'm armed with the knowledge, and now I know which way to set up my greenhouse for the coming season. Now, hopefully I'll have a good year with my pepper plants. Every year hasn't been very good to date. So that's why I invested in the quad grows, because I was hoping that they would make the plants grow better. But unfortunately, my chilies are not off to the best start, or my peppers. I was growing them in a compost that I've lost faith in, and I've potted them on now, but they should have more leaves on the bottom of the stems, and they don't at the moment. So hopefully I've taken them out of the grow unit, I've put them onto my windowsills, and with the natural sunlight they will grow those leaves, and maybe in 2 or 3 weeks time, when those plants are a bit bigger and can go out, I can get my cod grows set up and all ready to go. So I'll let you know, Eli, how I get on throughout the season. And all I can say about my quad grow unboxing and the lovely help from Eli is lovely job, and take care everybody.